back here on Inside Wrestling Radio with my friend JD Costello. He's telling us all about his history, and we're working up to the controversy that shut him down in Charlotte. JD, let's back up just a little bit. When you left the Crockett's, what were you out for an extended period before you got back into wrestling?
A long time, yeah. You know, if you get wrestling in your blood, it's in your blood. So is radio. If you get it in your blood, it's always in your blood. And I left Crockett. My dad was sick in Anderson, and my mother had passed away, and it was just a lot of family issues, and I thought it was best that I was out in Kansas City and really didn't like it where we were at, the territory, and just decided to move back and got back into radio.
So how long were you out of wrestling?
Oh, Lord, probably 20 years or so.
Really?
Yeah.
Did you have any contacts during over that time, or just
None.
completely done with it?
Done with it.
Wow.
Out of it.
Wow. So it was out of your blood for a little while.
It was out, yes.
But it apparently it crept back in 2009 when 2007 when you found your way back up to Hendersonville.
Yeah. Actually, drove every week from Charlotte to Hendersonville. Really liked it there for a long time. Really did.
I'm kind of like you. When I started up with Viper and HVW, when I first arrived there, man, I thought this is the greatest thing ever. These guys get along. Everybody's having fun.
Right.
Got a decent show. Had a good setup in that second building that we were at.
Yeah.
But it seemed like he was getting a lot of bad press from other people. People would say, "Oh, Viper, he was good at first, and then he turned to cut your throat." And I was like, "Well, he's treating me good, and you, at the same time, he was treating you pretty well." What come to your end with Viper?
Well, I made the mistake of investing some money up there, and money's the root of all evil, of course. But he was having some hard times, and we helped him pay the rent, and he needed new equipment. So, being the fool that I am, went out and bought him projectors and lights and cameras. And
so you actually bought all this equipment?
Bought all this equipment, but what I did, he was going to pay for it monthly. We worked out a contract, and he was going to pay every month, but he didn't.
Oh,
okay. He didn't, and we let it ride for a while, and he was there were no crowds. He just couldn't make it. He was he was over his head in debt and personal problems and everything else, and I was getting very frustrated, and it came to a head during a super show one night. It was Viper versus his son, Aaron Vaughn, for a championship match. Okay.
Right.
Okay.
Nothing like keeping it in the family.
Oh, exactly. Aaron was supposed to win.
Sure.
That's how it was planned out. They go to the ring. Viper switches it in the ring, and he pins him, and his son doesn't even know it.
Wow.
That set me off.
Right.
I got everything. I went to the car and I left. Never went back.
So that was the end of it.
That was almost the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted my equipment back because he hadn't paid for it.
Right.
He refused to give it back.
Mm-hmm.
So I repossessed it.
Oh, well.
Okay.
You got to do what you got to do, right?
Okay,
One of my favorite members in the 22-year plus I've been doing this was our show we did when Conspiracy took on Abyss from TNA and had the big show up there. That was just one of the best times I had. And I still have that video, and it was really a fun time. Let's move forward now to 2009. How did NWA Charlotte come about?
Everybody kept saying in Charlotte, you can't have a wrestling show in Charlotte. Nobody comes out. We've done it. We tried.
But everybody should know Charlotte was a hotbed of wrestling in the 80s.
That's what I kept thinking, and I kept thinking the NWA has got to still have a name here. So decided we were going to do it. Decided we were going to lease a building, and we were going to do it every 2 weeks. The whole concept was not to move the thing around. No spot shows. It's going to be in a state.
Spot shows are hard to pull off.
They are. We're going to be in one place. We're going to make it like a TV studio. We're going to put a lot of money into it. We're going to have a great set. The ambiance is going to be right, and we're going to hire the best wrestlers possible. There's no kids here. It's not going to be anything except what it should be.
Sure.
And we did it. We went to the NWA. Bob Trowbridge, who's the executive director, who's in Charlotte. We struck a deal with him to become a member of the NWA, the 18th member of the NWA, and went out, leased a building, built the set, invested a lot of money into sound and lights and everything. It was top notch. Anybody who was there could tell you that.
I've seen some videos and got a lot of feedback, and it was just a top notch, put together program.
It was,
up there.
and that's how it went. We put on shows every 2 weeks, and they were, I think they were the talk of the industry.
What kind of crowds were you drawing up there, JD?
Anywhere, our first show, we started out with about 500 people. We didn't know how it was going to work, and I was impressed with that. And it grew up to like 800 and 900 people. Our last show there was like, we had 900 there.
How long were you in operation?
We were only about 6 months.
Now take me to the night of April 25th.
Okay, it starts out like any other show, and then about 8:05, a fire truck arrives.
Now you have a full house.
Oh, we have the biggest crowd in there possible, about 900 people screaming and yelling. It was Lodi versus Raven for the first time ever, and it was a huge house. The fire department arrives and says they want to do an inspection. Okay, do an inspection.
Now, was the show running, or was this?
No, the show was in the okay. It was about 8:15. We were going. Okay, so here I am running back and forth. So they started inspection, and I know something's not right because here comes another fire truck. Something's terribly wrong.
And these aren't the little short trucks. These are the big ladder trucks.
These are big ladder trucks, and the red lights are going and everything. So I know something's going on. And they come up to me and they say, things aren't right, and we're going to shut down your show. And I said, no, you're not going to shut down my show, Right. And they say, well, yes, we are. And I said, no, you're not. So they called out the fire marshal.
Okay.
Fire marshal comes out there, a little short girl, fat with with red hair. So I knew I was screwed.
Yeah,
okay,
you're in bad shape.
She goes around every nook and cranny, even got a citation for electrical cord plugged into the camera. I mean, it was determined from the start that they were going to shut it down.
So they knew what they were doing before they got there.
Yeah, and they told us it had been a 911 call had come in and said there's some very serious violations out there and you need to go out there. And there were some things that were incorrect that I didn't know about, that I didn't even have knowledge of. We went through all the details to get the building right. We got a license to operate a wrestling venue at that location from the business license, and cops and firemen were always coming in there when we were building the set.
Sure. Just
to see what's going on.
Right.
And it was disturbing to me the way things went down. But let's just say they went down, and I was pretty irate, and I went out and told the crowd that night, they're shutting us down. They don't want us to have any fun here. I mean, the crowd was really behind all of us. And at that point, the fire department thought there was going to be a riot there. So they called, and there were like 10 police cars there next.
Wow, so now
Everybody,
the police show up.
The police show up.
Okay.
And
JD, hold on just a second. If you have time, can we hold you over to another segment?
Sure.
And continue
Sure.
this thing?
Sure.
All right. We're going to go to break. We'll be back with JD Costello. And JD, are you going to name who you think the anonymous 911 caller was?
Sure.
Really? Stay tuned for that.
Here comes the boom, ready or not. How you like me now?
Heat Wave Motors, they're on 221 south of Lawrence, just across from Crenshaw's. A family-owned business, they offer a warranty on all used cars they sell, either 90 days or 4,500 miles. And they show you the Carfax on every car they sell. Check them out on the internet, heatwavemotors.com. Financing available, buy here, pay here, or outside financing. Bad credit, foreclosures, even a bankruptcy, it's all okay at Heat Wave Motors.